Good
And
evening.
and we've already got Deborah's already up. Happy Thanksgiving, Margot and Iris. Thank you. You too.
Same to you, sweetie.
Tis the season, right? I love the cartoon that the turkey's poking his finger in Santa's face and says, "Not, not yet. Back off, fat
Fat
boy.
boy.
November's my month." You know?
Yeah. Stand down, fat boy.
Yeah, yeah. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's, and it used to be back in, my mother talks about like back when she was growing up, you would go downtown Greensboro the day before Thanksgiving and it just looked like, any other time. But when you went the day after Thanksgiving, all the decorations were up. And the stores were decorated and everything. And what they did a lot of times was put like brown paper in the windows until they, to decorate and then they reveal it all that morning on the day after Thanksgiving.
That's sweet.
Yeah, and it was, but now, good God Almighty, you,
It's October.
yeah, I thought at
It starts in
Halloween there
October.
was
Christmas shit
Christmas
everywhere.
stuff going. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, you couldn't even finish buying your Halloween candy without getting it mixed in with the Christmas.
Which portion do I want? The red and green one or the orange and black one? Which sugar poison are we doing today? That's so delicious. Trust me, guys, I'm a baker and a candy eater and cookie eater. I love my candy sugar poison, but I acknowledge it for what it also can be.
Hey,
It
I
is.
want my miniature candy, the little, was it Hershey's miniatures, I
Yeah.
like to pick the different papers for the different seasons. Fuck it
Don't
up.
don't mess up my candy wrapper entourage.
Yeah. Of course,
Gotta
I haven't bought that
decorate.
stuff in a year, but yeah. So,
Yay!
oh, Margo, why don't you tell people
Ah,
what we're doing here?
yay! We're talking about weird stories. Hi, this is Eyes of Indigo. Our theme, our motivate, our credo, our motivation is discussing weird stuff in a rational way. My name is Margot, and this is Iris Carter, our hosts for every show, and
Yeah.
for tonight. Welcome to all of our regular guests, and if you're new to the channel, hi. You're always welcome. We're excited that you're here. Please let us know you're here in the chat if you're on YouTube, and we also appear on Facebook. Feel free to just say hi, type in the chat. We'll see it. Um, and that is the best way to let us know that you're out there. If you're new enough that you don't know who the hell is Margot and Iris and what are they doing there? Why are they talking about like they know everything? Well, for starters, we do know everything.
And if we don't, we pretend we do, so we do. Yeah.
We don't know. We're both extremely psychic and medium, and well, we're more than medium. We're high speed, and, and we will get the answer for you like that. People hire us for that good stuff, just so you know. But anyway, back to topic. You can learn more about us as you can see from the information scrolling by the bottom of the screen. We put our credentials and our backgrounds on the very first episode of this talk show, Eyes of Indigo. You can find it on YouTube very easily under Iris Carter's name is the easiest way to search it. And it's about 30 minutes of she and I interviewing each other, talking about our education, our background, our professional experience, and so on. So we have a lot of fun. We've been doing this for more than a year. There are more than 50 episodes. Feel free to jump around and check out the subject matter that you like most. Iris is our lead host and our producer and the brain mother behind this brainchild for more than a year ago. So I'm going to throw us over to Iris and let her tell you a little more.
Oh, yeah. And hello to Tammy. I shot her comment up. It's good to have you with us. So today's show, Wild Thang.
Yep.
What's the wildest, craziest thing you've ever seen? Tell us about it. We'll analyze it, discuss it on air. Ask us about anything weird, supernatural, spiritual, or paranormal, except turducken. Nobody understands turducken. So,
No.
yeah. So, that's kind of. And speaking of turducken, I thought I did find some humor for you because it is Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Yeah.
I found these. I thought it was good. I'm going to save a ton of money on Christmas, and it's a monkey smoking a cigarette by discussing politics at Thanksgiving dinner. I think that's a good way to approach it. The quickest way to pick a fight on Thanksgiving, and it's a pumpkin pie with one of the slices taken out of the middle.
Hacked up at weird angles. Yes.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah, some people would get angry, but nobody likes the crust, so I would rather take my part out of the middle.
Exactly, but the OCDers,
I know,
and the chefs, that freaks them out.
And actually, it's not OCD; it's CDO, where the letters are in the order the way they're supposed to be. Yeah.
Okay. Disorder compulsive. Yes.
Thanksgiving, bringing out the best in family dysfunction since 1863, which I believe was the first day that Thanksgiving was officially named the first time it was named a holiday. But yeah. I've got a button. Whoops. Let's see. Yeah, take that off. Or a magnet on my refrigerator. I should have brought it over. It's one of those famous artists. She always puts cherries. It's like cartoonish looking, but she always puts cherries and stuff in her. I can't think of her name, but anyway,
pina colada.
no, in her drawings and all. She had a bunch of drawings, kind of like the Holly Hobby, but this is somebody else.
Irma Bombeck. If life's a bowl of cherries, why am I in the pits?
No, this is an artist. I can't think of her name, but anyway,
I'm running out of cherry jokes.
I know. Yeah.
And Geddes and the babies and the flowers and the fruit.
Yeah, really. But it's this woman in the putting the fun and dysfunctional.
Yes.
And I had never realized fun was in the middle of that until in the middle of that word.
Oh, until you saw that one.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah.
The magnet on my refrigerator has a very beautiful, slinky, sexy, long leggy blonde that says, "I'm going to hell in every religion." And I said, "It's for me. Thank you. I'm purchasing this one." I love it.
I've got one just out of reach.
Oh, you can read it to us.
I gotta show you.
It's worth the scoop and the third and the fourth wall frame break. We have got to see this one. What you got? I found Jesus, who was behind the sofa the whole time. Spoken like a true mom and pet owner and grandmom. Hell yeah. You hear that statement once or twice a year at least.
I really thought about putting it on my car because it is a bumper sticker. But then I thought, no, somebody's going to beat the shit out of my car.
That is a risk you take when you make religious statements in the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
That's changing, but woo, yeah, it's a risk you take. Even having a coexist sticker, invites comments.
Well, so what I did have a couple of people email me with stories. Yeah. And so I'm going to share.
We said we would read those and analyze them as best we could. So let's start there.
And and then also I want to encourage anybody who's watching, if you think of a story that you can tell, in the message compartment, feel free to do so. And then Margot and I stowed a couple on the side just in case if we run out of.
Trust me. Iris and I have lots of weird stories.
Yeah, but we want to hear y'all's too. So that's okay. So, wait a minute, wrong one. I pulled all these up, and I was gonna
read off a couple.
Share.
Starting with
Tammy.
Very good.
Tammy, she said she had a couple of very weird and scary experiences take place a few years ago. The first time I saw the thing, I was on vacation, staying in a hotel with my eldest son and granddaughter. I was sleeping and was awakened by my son whispering, "Mom, wake up." I woke up and he told me that the TV set across the room from us had been sliding or scraping on the table it was sitting on. The noise had woke him up. He said it stopped when he was whispering for me to wake up. We stayed awake for a while and I must have fallen asleep again because I was awakened again by my son and he pointed up to the ceiling and we were horrified. A clear, jelly looking human shaped thing with two small black eyes was slithering across the ceiling and went down the wall just disappeared through the floor. Needless to say, we jumped up and woke my granddaughter up, grabbed our things, and got the heck out of there. The next time I saw the thing, I was home at night in bed. My husband was asleep next to me. I was startled awake by what felt like energy touching me like unseen hands. I saw orbs of many colors flying around my bedroom. Some were touching my face and hands. I was so terrified I couldn't move or speak and felt like I could hardly breathe. Some of the orbs appeared to be chasing other orbs. The room was full of so many colors of the orbs. As I lay there shaking and frozen with fear, the jelly human looking thing was moving across my ceiling. It was looking down at me with black eyes, and this time I saw a small mouth on it also. It slithered above me across the ceiling and down the wall out of sight. The battle of the orbs was still going on. I could still feel them around me. I was finally able to make myself move, but all I could do was curl up in a ball with my head under the covers. I was still so afraid that I couldn't even make myself try and wake my husband up. I just felt like I couldn't move from that spot. I don't know how long I stayed that way, but the next thing I saw was the sunlight coming through the windows. It was morning. Everything was totally normal again. I have not seen the thing or the orbs since then. I'm hoping you may know what these experiences were and what the thing was. I have searched on the internet and can find nothing that explains what it was. There are times I wake up during the night and I'm afraid to look up at the ceiling. It takes me a minute to convince myself that everything's fine and there's no jelly looking thing staring down at me. So I found out she's the vacation was in North Carolina, and I believe she's in North Carolina as well. Because I asked her, I said I wanted to find out, and how much time between the house being at the house and the vacation for this thing to have shown up twice, and I had some things that I shared with her just right off of the top of my head, but I'd be interested in what you have to say. And she said they were vacationing at Atlantic Beach, and it was about a month later that she saw it in her bedroom. So I just wanted to answer that in case. So I can tell you what I sent her, or you can give your opinions.
I'm not going to change. I'm not. No, I wouldn't do that. More than likely, the coordinate is just okay. For starters, everybody's view of reality is unique. So just because my interpretation of her system, my interpretation of that system or situation really doesn't prove or disprove yours. What I've noticed is that they're actually lots of times in the past stories, they're actually very, very similar.
Yeah.
We're just seeing slightly different variations of what the other person also saw. And that is the nature of all of reality. All right. Reality doesn't really exist. It's what you think it is and how you view it, your situation, your filter. So I'm really curious to hear what your interpretation was. And I promise I will keep mine exactly the way it was without altering it.
Okay. Well, my thinking was it was in a hotel. Someone had been in that room or in one of the other nearby rooms that, people come and go and they bring their
shit
with them. Yeah. And attachments, that they might come and then they see something else and oh, okay, well, I'm going to leave you and I'm going to go over here now, And so then when she and her son were staying in the room and they had the granddaughter with them, there's a bright light energy force that this creepy thing goes, oh, fresh meat. Yeah, literally.
Fresh energy, food, food. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Sustenance.
so it came in.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course
Attached
the sun
itself.
was waking up. Yeah. And it was like looking. And then when they left, it just kind of went back with Tammy later looking for the granddaughter for whatever reason. I don't think it could find the granddaughter. And she said the granddaughter hadn't seen it since, at the beach. She didn't see it at the beach and she hadn't seen anything like it.
So the kids never saw that entity, just her.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the son did. Remember, her son's like an adult.
Okay, so the adult saw it, but the child didn't. Okay.
Right. And child hasn't seen it since. And so I figure it was just it followed Tammy for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my take on it.
All right. My take was that whatever it was definitely attached itself to Tammy, but in a general sense, not really in a damn for life, I'm going to follow you to your grave kind of way.
Yeah.
It's just, it's intrigued for some reason. I'm also hearing that it's extremely benign in that it can't really do anything to her except for once in a while when she's on the right vibrational level, she'll accidentally see it because she'll be in a synchronous or a harmonic vibration with it, especially if she's in fear. Low vibration, fear, terror, expectation, all that. Tammy, you need to indulge in a lot of laughing, giggling, snickering, whatever it takes. Those are instant high, super high, instant vibrations that anything low vibe absolutely can't not exist around. Snickering, giggling, and all out laughing, any variation of those, the more you laugh, instantly raises the vibration. So have a stockpile of funny thoughts.
I just had an epiphany.
Good.
Sometimes if I watch a scary movie, I love scary movies,
Yeah.
But if I watch them and I get into them too deep, and then afterwards it's like I need to detox on something funny, and I just,
yes,
why?
Yes, it brings the vibration all the way back up again. Yes, absolutely. And the globe, the orbs, the rainbow color, variety of orbs that were bouncing around in your room, those were actually protective entities. Sometimes we characterize them as fairies. Sometimes we characterize them as ghosts. Sometimes they're just disembodied beings. Doesn't matter. Labels are not necessary, but they were there to be protective. And their purpose actually backfired. They were there to amuse you and make you smile and laugh and have childlike wonder. Instead, it terrified you.
That makes sense.
You ended up, getting locked down in your bed instead of asking for help. And they were there to try to help raise the vibe. They were there to try to amuse you with their beautiful, different and amazing light show. Think of it in terms of, I'm hearing Tinkerbell. Remember when Tinkerbell wanted to show up, she would look like a light orb and she would come in and float in and go bing and materialize. The bubble would disappear and it'd be just little shiny Tinkerbell talking with
so did Glinda the Good Witch.
Glinda the Good Witch. Yep. Yeah. She would bing and just, there she was. And that's a pretty typical way for fairy-like creatures to show up, especially in Hollywood. So they do like using orbs. Those are but the being itself that you call jelly-like, you remember Ghostbusters and the green one that became their buddy. What did they call him?
Slime. He was
Slimer. I think that was his name. I think that was his name. If you guys, anybody listening, I guess if you can remember the name of their green glob mascot, um, slime something. But anyway, hello, ladies. Nice to see you. Yeah,
Hi,
hi, Daryl.
Daryl.
Hey, Daryl. I can't remember his name, but I get the impression that it's kind of like that entity, that creature. This is more of a innocuous sidekick, uh, comic relief kind of thing that's just looking for a good time.
For good time, call your local jelly man.
Your local slime entity, yeah, your local jelly entity.
No,
So
thank you. No, I don't mean it. I'm just.
no, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. But
Oh,
yeah, you can keep yourself out of that good stuff by staying cheerful and laughing, or have recordings of laughing nearby that makes you laugh and giggle. All that, any presence of gaiety and
I used to have
laughter,
a cow around. I got one that just moves. I think he still moves.
and that makes people and things
But
like that can make you laugh.
yeah, but I used to have one that it when I would do that, he was a little one, and he'd moo about 3 times, and then he'd go moo. And so that was pretty awesome.
Somebody ran their soundtracks together on his recording device.
Yeah, and so I used to love driving my office mate crazy with it.
You would. A good practical joker. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, let's see. Did she have two stories or you have another
No,
person?
but Deborah did. Let me pull up one of hers. Let's
Mm-hmm.
see where. No, that was the old one. That's Tammy's. I'm gonna close that and whoops, I'm getting there. Okay, whoops. Oh, I thought I had it. There it is. Okay, this is from Deborah. Her weird story. She lived on the outskirts of Memphis at the time and was traveling on the interstate that goes through Memphis when traffic came to a crawl. On the other side of the median for me, I could see where an extension ladder had fallen out of a pickup truck. The ladder had fallen straight out, parallel with the lane, and the car behind had driven over it, straddling the ladder before the driver could stop the car. The driver of the pickup truck was trying to pull the ladder out from under the car while the driver sat inside her car. It didn't appear there was any damage or anyone was hurt. A couple of days later, I'm on the same interstate again when traffic comes to a crawl. This wasn't unusual for Memphis. I was in the right lane, and as I advanced, I saw in the left lane another pickup truck had dropped his extension ladder on the interstate with the car behind juxtaposed over the ladder, just as happened in the incident a couple of days before. And the driver of the pickup truck was trying to get his ladder out from under the car. About 2 days later, I'm driving on a well-traveled 2-lane rural road. Most people, including myself, went faster than they should here because they knew the turns and bends and easily get impatient with slower drivers. And I'll add, there aren't a lot of passing spots along this road. I turned one of the bends of the road to spot a pickup truck with an extension ladder in the back, and he was going slower than my preferred speed. My tendency the week before would have been to tailgate him, hoping he'd get the message to pick up the pace. This particular day, I thought, it can't be. What are the chances? I'll hang back a distance just in case. I watch my rearview mirror as traffic gathers behind me as I'm poking along at the same pace of the pickup truck ahead of me, keeping about a dozen car lengths between us. It didn't take long before the ladder came flying off the truck. I had no problem stopping my car in plenty of time before getting to the ladder. I thought at the time that it could have been really ugly if not only my car had been hit by the ladder, but the cars behind me would not have been prepared to slam on their brakes either. It's been about 15 years since that happened, and I haven't seen an escaping ladder before or since.
Wow. 3 times, 3 days, same place, same, or at least same type of place.
Yeah.
You want to analyze that one? You want
Go ahead. You go ahead.
ladders? Ladders. Let me. This is okay. I'll say the mental cascade out loud so people can hear the process. And what happens is a bunch of symbolism jumps out. Ladders falling, ladders straddling ladders repeatedly in a row, not for the first person, not for the second person, definitely for the third person. Jacob's ladder. Who is Jacob? Look it up where Jacob was going. There is a biblical reference. However, look for the alternative. Jacob was not just going to heaven. Okay, Jacob. This has to do with ETs. Jacob was apparently visiting our ET brothers.
Oh, that's
going up on beams, looked like ladders to old scholars. What else do y'all want her to know? This was not just for her. This was for everybody behind her, around her in the traffic. This was a multi-purpose thing. Go look up Jacob's ladder. Okay. That's what I heard.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's a stream of consciousness thing. It happens in like a few seconds, really.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
My first thought was she was warned. You know, I mean, she got a very clear message and she paid attention. And, you know, not only once, but twice. And she was saved the third time because she had paid attention and made the connection. But I think it's interesting that you're pulling in a more in-depth version.
Another layer.
Yeah.
It's just another view of the same story. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely a warning. The story was not the first or the second incidents, but the third incident.
And the fact that she paid attention to what was
is also intriguing.
Yeah.
To say the least, the energy must have been very high for that one. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah. And so this one is just a weird one. If y'all have comments, questions, or your own stories, please share.
Comment. Say something. Yeah.
I should be clear that Deborah is my sister. And I was going through some old emails for something else, and I came across another weird story. And I said, can I share it? And she said, sure. And she even started out, I mean, this is from 3 years ago. She said, I know how you love a good woo-woo story. So this afternoon, coming home, and where she lives now in Washington State. This afternoon, coming home from a bridge game at the club about 3:30, I was doing 60 miles an hour, which is the speed limit on Highway 14 going east toward home. I'm in awe as I watch a tree topple from the right-of-way in my direction and fall right in front of me. It happened so fast that I can't tell you exactly what happened. As I watched it come down, I knew it was going to hit me. I had two different points of view. Part of me thought the tree hit the hood of my car, but yet I saw the tree hit the asphalt in front of me and break into several log-sized pieces in front of me, which isn't possible for me to see if it hit me coming down. It was a tall, skinny tree about 4 inches in diameter. I do know I had no time to brake or avoid the tree, and I had no choice but to run over the tree, and I did feel that. I was and am fine, and my car has suffered only cosmetic damage. The tree did not hit the roof or hood of my car as I initially thought it was going to, or had the sense that it did. By the scrape marks and damage on the right side, it appears that the tree did strike my car on the side as it came down. And there's damage to the underside because I had to drive over it. Again, it appears only cosmetic. No apparent damage to radiator, engine, or axles. I pulled to the side of the road and looked back, and the tree was in fact broken into logs across 2 lanes as I had quote-unquote watched. There were high wind warnings for today. However, the winds were not nearly as high nor as intense as forecast, and not blowing at the time the tree came down. We haven't had an unusual amount of rain to cause trees to come down, as sometimes happens. Joe felt, that's her husband, based on the tree falling apart when it hit the pavement, it was a rotten tree and just happened to fall at that time. Had I been 1 millisecond slower, the tree would have fallen across the hood or on top of the car, which could have caused a log to go through the windshield and caused a lot more damage and possibly resulting in bad consequences to me. Had the tree not been rotten, there would have been a lot more damage than what I sustained. Bottom line, I'm fortunate, and again, I'm fine. Here's where the woo-woo comes in. I come home, get on the computer to check my email. I have an email from a new player whom I don't know all that well. She's taken a few classes from me and recently played in my newcomer game. She had a bridge question. Her email was sent over 3 hours before my encounter with the tree. Her final sentence of the email following the bridge question was, "Watch out for flying tree limbs." She could have been referring to the weather report and been a random coincidence, but wow, just wow. She said, I wrote her back and told her I found her comment interesting and asking if she was psychic. I haven't heard back from her yet. But yeah, nobody's ever cautioned her, and she hadn't cautioned anybody else about tree limbs. And for this woman to come out of the blue before the incident,
that's intriguing for sure. Oh yeah. that is a lot of woo-woo going on. From listening to that and thinking about other related stories that your sister has told us about encounters that she's had, she's aware of more than one dimension at the same time, and she has a tendency to cross over and come back. She dips into one and they cross over and come back, and she does that a lot. Not a lot, but more than the average bear.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm seeing, is that she saw two different versions of the tree coming down. And that's not too unusual for people who are under duress. In the moment, their brain and their awareness is going to start looking for all possibilities to get out of this. And that can include move to another reality where this is not a problem. And she's gotten adept at it, is what I'm seeing. Yeah. How about you? What was your takeaway?
Pretty much the same thing. And then the fact that she got that email after it happened and the woman happened to say something before, that was just confirmation. The woman said it for whatever reason in her email.
She was in that vibe.
Yeah. And then when my sister read it after the fact, she was given confirmation that
wavelength did exist. Yeah. And it was more universal than just her.
Oh, here she goes. She says, can I use that as an excuse for a speeding ticket? Sorry, officer, I was speeding in another dimension, not yours. Go for that, Deborah. You do
Deborah. That. Give it a whirl. It might work.
Might work. Might have him call the padded wagon instead of the paddy wagon.
Absolutely. I was speeding in another dimension, not this one, not yours. I like that one. I like that. That would be very cool. That would be very cool.
I'm sorry, officer. What dimension did you come from to catch me here?
I'm sorry. Did I step on your dimension? Pardon me while I step back, while I step away back into mine. Cowbells. Absolutely. For sure, cowbells. So Iris, you have a story or two of weirdness to share, possibly?
Yeah, I had a couple of, let's see, which one? I guess the one was okay, this was funny, just to go back, because everybody knows I wrote the book about being in the haunted house and how to treat children and all that stuff. And if you haven't seen it, it's on Amazon, and it's
Can you run a banner?
Yeah, I should.
I think you already have a banner made for that one, do you not?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, just run it while you're talking. She authored a book, The Care and Feeding of Ghosts and the Children Who See Them.
I think I'm looking at the wrong. Where am I?
And it is a terrific book. And it makes a terrific Christmas present.
Yes.
It is a fast, useful, fun, and very entertaining read. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. But after we had moved out of this house, uh, we were living in a new house, and of course, everything had calmed down. And I think it was like our first Christmas in the house, and we were sitting in the living room and like Christmas trees up, and Mom had decorations, and one of the decorations was like a wreath of uh, garland or uh, holly or something like that. And of course, remember this was in the 70s, and she had some sparkly reindeer that she kind of sat in them, and they were on a mirror, so it looked like they were by a lake, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
they're sitting on a little table, and um, one of us brought up the ghost at the old house. We were, and it was kind of like, well, at least we don't have to deal with that and anymore and that kind of thing. And, just kind of a little bit of reminiscing. And as soon, whatever we were reminiscing, I think it was after that, we said, well, at least we don't have to deal with that anymore. And all of a sudden, the deer went flying off the table. And Mom just looked, we all looked, and we said, do you think? And Mom said, no, we're not going to say it. No, don't say it. I will not think about it. No.
She is going to institute that denial right here, right now.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, okay. It was like, oh, yeah, the deer.
For sure. Yeah, instant flying reindeer from stationary objects.
Yeah.
That's indicative of something else is in the room. Definitely. Oh, my goodness. All right.
So,
well, then, let's see. Another strange story that we picked up from elsewhere that I picked up by going down a rabbit hole for hours and hours reading stories posted on Reddit, Reddit. I think it's reddit.com. And this was a thread that was started out over years ago, and people keep adding to it about weird and unusual stuff that happens, creepy things that happen. And this thread was about supernatural experiences while in national forests. And apparently, this particular phenomenon happens in national forests all over the world, not just the United States. And the phenomenon is commonly reported in situations like this, like Reddit, by forest rangers. It's also reported by hikers and people that live in proximity or live in the forest, campers, and so on. But it's very, very commonly reported by forest rangers, and most commonly reported by absolute newbies and really older members who are about to retire, so they don't mind telling you stuff on the way out or publicizing things on the way out. And the common story that I'm referring to all the way through, that again is universal. It shows up in forests, national forests. It shows up in deserts. It shows up in tundras. It shows up in cold climates. It shows up in hot climates and everywhere, riversides, mountainsides, everywhere. And what it is that shows up out of nowhere is a staircase, a regular house staircase. And I went down this whole reading stories literally for like 4 or 5 hours nonstop. I was sitting looking at my computer like this. Scroll. No. Because I can power read. Scroll. I was soaking it up. Man, I went through a good 30 or 40 stories that covered years and years. And the stairs can take on almost any, they sometimes look differently. Sometimes they're made of stone, sometimes made of wood, sometimes made of carpet and fabric, and sometimes made of bricks or whatever. But the majority of them look like indoor modern stairs with drywall on the side, painted wood, and carpeting down the risers. A couple of things that made this weird, besides the fact that there's stairs in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. There's no building. It's just a staircase. The stairs are pristine. There's no leaf litter. There's no dirt. There's no twigs. There's no leaves. There's no pine cones. There's no splash up, spray up from rain and the dust and mud spattering up and drying on the bottom edge of it. None of that. They're always completely pristine as if they were just built. They have no footprints. They are untouched. Most of the time they're white and off-white and beige, except of course, sometimes they're stone or whatever, but they are in the middle of nowhere and they appear and they have a tendency to stay for several hours and then they disappear. And at a seemingly random, but considering that rangers don't stay in the same spot all the time, they circle around for weeks and weeks going through the property. Eventually, months later, the staircase will show up somewhere else in the same park or show up in a different park hundreds and hundreds of miles away and disappear after a few hours. The senior forest rangers basically say the exact same thing. Don't talk about it. Two things. Don't talk about it. Don't ever touch them or go up on them.
The first rule of flights of stairs is to not talk about
flights of stairs. Right. The Stair Flight Club. The first rule of Stair Flight Club is don't talk about Stair Flight Club. Second rule, Stair Flight Club, is you don't touch the stair flights. There were a couple of stories of people that did touch them. They were stupid, they were high, they were drunk, they were feeling young and arrogant for whatever reasons, lots of different reasons. One or two of them, nothing happened. They went up the stairs, they looked around, the view was nice, nothing seemed to happen. The stairs were, maybe, 10 feet across, and nothing actually happened. They came back down, the stairs eventually disappeared. But the rest of the people that tried to touch it either got hurt or the other park rangers that were nearby started screaming at them to get down, and they were either fired or threatened with firing, or they were jerked off of the property and sent in an ambulance to get fully checked out. And the scuttlebutt is why people that do get hurt while they're up there, and the ones that could report it, is when you get to the top of the stairs, if you reach out over the edge, like you're going to go down an invisible hallway at the top of the stairs, or touch a wall at the top, near the top of the stairs, or off the side, you reach out, people have lost limbs, just like laser, gone. And it didn't fall on the ground. It didn't fly apart in pieces. It disappeared, and they draw back a bloody stump, and they're now amputees. So there are instances of people screaming and getting a huge electric shock and dropping dead and falling down the stairs and being burned. So some sort of contact explosion or contact incineration happened. And the speculation is that it's a type of time travel, a portal, vortex, doorway, and it's either put there for nefarious means or put there for means from other dimensions that they're not aware of. The random foot traffic of humans in the forest, which happen to be rangers coming nearby, that don't know the reasoning for it, but there's that's the speculation. And that it's inappropriate for beings on this vibrational level to try to go above that. There's also darker and more nefarious explanations for those doors too. Sorry, not doors. Well, characterized as doors, those stairways, that they are traps. Because one of the other ongoing threads around those stories is that there is a vibration when you see those stairs. When you're near them, right before you can see those stairs, you will feel a pull. You will feel an attraction. You will feel a longing to, I have got to touch the stairs. I really, really got to climb on the stairs. And you feel impulsively, strongly driven and drawn to the stairs. And it is creepy. It's not pleasant. It's not fun. It's creepy. It's compulsive. And if you have a sense of self-awareness, you're aware that this is not appropriate. This pull is way, way not normal in the middle of nowhere. And most people do avoid them. So if you're in the National Forest and you see pristine stairs, even if you're drawn to them, do not touch them. Do not go near them. You can try to take a picture of them. Most of the time they don't show up on cell phone. But you can give it a shot. And do not touch. Leave it alone. Don't let your kids touch it. What you got?
You had told me a little bit about this before, but there was another where the guy was like looking over a cliff and he saw it looked like a kitchen area or something.
That was a related story. He was a new trainee. And he was doing his rounds with his mentor. His mentor went in one direction, he went the other. They were going to circle around, come back. And he came to a clearing that had a flat platform, a man-made sawn wood and nailed platform. And on top of it was a table and a chair. Pristine, in the middle of the woods, miles and miles from nowhere. No ceiling, no walls, a platform, just a foot or two off the ground, and a table and a chair. And it looked comfortable, it looked inviting, it looked intriguing. It was kind of up on a knoll, on a hill, so you would have a good view. And he started to walk towards it, and he heard his mentor behind him, wolf whistle or whatever, really, really, really loud. I'm sure they have a police whistle type thing. And his his commanding officer, which is literally what he is, waved at him to come back. Cross off, come back. So he left the platform. He didn't go on the platform. He went back to his officer, and his officer said, "Yeah." He said, "Can you see that? Can you see the platform?" And the senior officer said, "Yeah, I can see that, and that shows up once in a great while. Don't touch it. We need to get the police in here because I think I know what it is." And long story short, they came in with a cleanup crew and bulldozers and so on, and pulled it apart. There was a pit under the chair. The chair was the way the wood was designed under the chair. If you sat in the chair, it would have fallen. Floor would have broken through, and you would have fallen into a pit that was inside that hill. Remember, it was on top of a slight rise, and you would have been trapped in the middle of nowhere by people who built that trap that no one else knows about. And he said they have seen that before, and they pull it down and stake it out whenever they see it. So that's actually a thing. So if you see platforms,
yeah.
if you see flat platforms with chairs, walk away. Do not play on it. Do not climb on it. Yeah, you're being set up for a trap.
Yeah, it's like a Ozzy and Harriet version of The Hills Have Eyes. I mean,
exactly. I'm thinking Silence of the Lambs. He threw dropping people down in the pit. Yeah.
Deborah was talking about your stairs and said it sounds like the land version of the siren song to sailors.
Very much so. Yeah, siren stairs. Yeah, there you go. I like that. It is. That's the impression I got. So Daryl wrote us a lot. What we got?
Yeah, he's telling a weird story here. So let's see. My weird story starts when I was dating someone who lived off of Wendover Avenue in Greensboro. He invited me over for dinner, and while I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth, I felt someone staring at me. As I looked down the hallway the first time, I did not see anyone, and Hugh was cooking in the kitchen. I resumed brushing my teeth, and again, I felt someone watching me. This time, when I looked down the hallway, I saw an older male ghost lean through a tapestry and turn and look right at me, and then he leaned back and disappeared. The home was a two-story that they converted it into two apartments, and it hung a large tapestry to block off the stairs. I never told Hugh what I saw. Later that night, a friend of his came over and we got on the topic of ghosts. He looked at Hugh and said, "You know this place is haunted." He then told us he had seen the same ghost on the same stairs as I did. I wish I had researched the history of the home. I would not be surprised if the man had died in the home somehow.
Probably, or he was attached to somebody who had lived there or still live there.
Yeah.
I'm curious about whether or not. I mean, Hugh's friend knew about the ghost. Did Hugh know? Did you say Hugh looked? You didn't say you
Didn't
told
say in
him.
the story if Hugh knew or not.
If Hugh had known about the ghost or not.
Yeah, so Daryl, let us know if Hugh knew about it. Another,
That's pretty cool. Thank you.
yeah, that is really cool. And I think, a lot of people talk about, I don't know. Every time I see where somebody says, "Oh, it's somebody who's stuck and we have to save them," people don't get stuck.
They stand it because they want to. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just going back and forth. Daryl says no. Hugh said he never saw anything. He was just oblivious. So yeah.
Hugh didn't vibrate on that harmonic vibe for that entity to come into view. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would scare the crap out of me, though, if I'm kind of like, somebody's watching and then, I
think it's the watching thing that's creepy.
Yeah.
If the ghost would just go about his business, that'd be something else.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you staring at? Yeah.
Yeah, we saw a meme that said, "Me, whoo, there's a ghost in the house." Or, Karen, "There's a ghost in the house." Me, "Knock it off, Frank. It's 4 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the point I've gotten to.
Eventually, you name your ghosts. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember if I've told this on the show or not, but there was a time where I was really studying about fairies and kind of hooked into the nature level of things and that sort of thing. And I was aware that it was like I was waking up, and the moment I was waking up, like, just, it was like everything kind of came together at once, and I was aware that I had been in the Black Forest talking to an ancient druid who was wearing the hooded cape and,
priest
like, and very tall man. And I had been talking to him in another language and getting information regarding the things that I was studying, like fairies and that sort of thing. And so it was like a split second. I was aware that was going on, and then I was coming back, being slammed into my body for whatever reason. So I knew I'd been astral traveling and in time,
Sure.
And I opened my eyes and I was like, "Oh, he's still here." And then I went, "Wait a minute, he's still here." And I have an archway in my bedroom, in my master bedroom. Instead of doors going to the bathroom, I turned it into an archway. And he was standing in that archway and almost touching the ceiling. And it was like, he was doing this number, like, what? And I looked at him and I said, "Ah, crap." I just kind of, "Go on back. Get yourself back. I'm going to sleep. I'm tired."
He got caught up in the undertow.
Yes,
of you
exactly.
zooming back. Yeah, you accidentally got dragged.
Zoom, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And so, and I was like, and I remember going back to sleep, and going, "I can't believe that just happened." And the next morning, I woke up and I went, "What the fuck?"
It
It's
was
like the
completely
reality of
normal.
what had happened set in. Where at the moment everything was fine. Yeah, okay, Oscar travel. Yeah, go. So yeah.
Uh, so Lokesh Gupta has a general ghost question. Do ghosts have form? They say that ghosts don't have form, that then is it true that we can't see them but can feel their vibrations or perhaps see them through the third eye? I think you're onto something there quite a lot, Lokesh. I think it is more of a vibration that we feel and not a physical thing that we can see. And some people would label that awareness as using your third eye. That's in metaphysical terminology, that would be correct. But now we'd have to go down a whole route of what is the third eye versus awareness and so on and so on. That's my take. So, Iris, what do you think?
To say that spirits don't have form, they can choose to have form.
Hmm.
If they're trying, and it just depends on how low they want to bring their vibration or where their
How
vibration
solid they want to
is.
be, right?
Yeah. And so they can take a form if they want to. And typically they take the form that they were most comfortable in. I had my
Mm-hmm.
grandmother come visit me one time and I didn't recognize her at the time because I woke up. I heard her come in the door, which the door was still locked. And I woke up and she's standing next to my bed, just grinning at me. And I'm like, what the?
What the
And
fuck are
I'm,
you doing here?
yeah. And of course, turn on the lights and there's nobody there. And I just had to calm myself down. And then the next morning when I woke up, I was like, who was that? And then I remembered a picture I'd seen of my grandmother in her younger years and made the
That's the
connection.
and that's the image that she showed up as.
Yeah, and so depending on the purpose and why the entity is still around or visiting or whatever, they may or may not take a form. But to make a sweeping statement that they don't have form, that's I don't believe that at all. I mean,
Well, that was the question: is do ghosts actually have form? And also, you answered. I like your answer,
oh, thank you.
and I agree. I agree that yes, they can materialize. I think we're actually referring to the way energy moves through the universe. It can move in as a wave form, or it can move as a particle form. And humans can visually see particles better than we can waves.
Mm.
And we are also in science and spirituality very aware that waves can become particles and particles can become waves, both made of energy. And it sounds like ghosts can easily switch from one form to the other, whereas a 3D, 2D, 1D being, typically our bodies are 3D. Just for reference, we have a tendency to stay mostly particle. However, we can switch to wave. And when we start going into those really cool switching liminal spaces between, the space between, the veil between, and all these other vague references to magical times between their world and our world, that's where you're going to see transparent and form and formless entities such as ghosts and spirits. The bunny ears, the bunny finger ears for the quotes. And I agree, they can take on form if they want to, and they can take on particle form, and they can take on wavelength form. Uh, so can humans, but we'll leave that for another day.
Oh, I got to share this one weird thing that happened to me. I was about 18 or 19 years old. I was living on my own, and I was a waitress. And I got put on the day shift, which meant I was doing breakfast, so I had to be at work at 5 a.m. So I literally got out of bed and I'm driving through down. I had to drive through downtown Greensboro because I worked on the other side. I lived on the opposite side of downtown from where I work. It's 4:30ish in the morning. I'm driving down a one-way street in Greensboro. And I might not have been doing the speed limit, but I wasn't speeding either. I was doing about 30 miles an hour. And there's nobody because it's downtown Greensboro at 4:30 in the morning. And the lights are turning just as I'm coming to them. So I'm good pace. And I get to one of the lights as I'm approaching. Out of the corner of my eye, I see a car speeding down the hill coming from the cross
perpendicular. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and I tried to slam on brakes, but I knew that the front of my car was in the intersection. And I literally just closed my eyes and braced for impact. I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I kind of, there's nothing happening. And I opened my eyes and I saw literally my car dematerialize. And that car went right through. And I looked back and my car was just like it should have been. And I kept on going.
Rematerialized.
And when I think back, it was almost like a voice in my head. It was like, not today. And I was like, I knew it was beyond.
That early in the morning, you're also in a theta brainwave, that those possibilities are even higher to bend reality that way for us, or bend the particles that way for us. Very cool.
It was awesome.
I've heard similar stories, and probably most of our friends have some version of that story where imminent impact and it passed through instead of having an impact. That happened a lot. Your sister, ever the comedian, has a wonderful comment about particles and waves.
I'm afraid I'm not smart enough to do any hauntings in my afterlife.
She's not a physicist at this point.
Yeah, go take that quantum physics course. Chop.
It's on YouTube somewhere. I just know it is.
And if
got an app for that.
Take it before you die, know that you can go back in time and take it again. Get a do-over. Do it
hit me up and download me from back there. Yeah.
Do it on an alternate timeline. Put the onus on your other self. And then when your timelines converge, I've got the knowledge.
Complete package all the way through.
Tell we've got to close here in just a minute, but tell your wedding story.
Oh, okay. All right. So weird coincidences. Being on the same vibrational length, even among total strangers, was kind of cool. My husband and I do beach weddings quite a lot. And, shameless personal plug, beachpeopleweddings.com. We're photographers and officiants. And we were watching a documentary about ETs and UFOs, and mostly ETs, as we sometimes do. One evening, and the next day we were to do a beach wedding for a couple who were by themselves except for their dog, and they were eloping on Holden Beach. It was on Holden Beach, and it was this year during the summer. And we went through the ceremony. The mother was the bride was a mother. She was like 8 months pregnant, so she was Waddle City and cute and glowing as all get out. And we went through the ceremony and we went through photography we were together for about 45 minutes. And for some reason, they wanted to talk about ETs. The reason they had chosen that location, that beach, is because it had a history of ET activity and UFO activity, especially in the sky, especially right over the ocean. especially since there are military bases all over the place around here, that when you live here for 11 years, you start finding out about them. One of them is quasi-public. It's called Sunny Point. It's in between the South Carolina line and Wilmington. And it has a nuclear power plant in it for the whole area. And so anyway, a lot of activity, seaward and landward. And we were talking about that in general. It was kind of cool. And while we were talking, we're all sitting there on the beach taking a breather so that pregnant mommy can take a space and have some water. This was in the middle of summer, guys, like July. A guy in this costume came walking by while we were talking about ETs and UFOs. Came walking by in the middle of July wearing this costume. And David was like, "Oh my God, guys, look."
They wanted to see an ET and they saw one.
They saw one, and he was walking past us probably about 20 feet away. He walked past us, and we all yelled and waved, and he waved back. And one of us, somebody said, "Nice costume." And the guy frowned and said, "What costume?" He's trying to be cute.
And for those who may be listening and not watching later, the costume is an inflatable ET that the human puts their legs in to walk, and the body looks like he's being carried with fake legs dangling in front of him. So if you look up inflatable ET costume, you probably find it.
Yeah, it looks like an ET is carrying you away.
Yeah.
It looks like a sort of an abduction or baby carry. But anyway. So it's the only time that ever happened in over 2,000 weddings, and it hasn't happened since.
Funky.
So talk about being on the same wavelength. That was different.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well,
Sarah, we have
thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you. And we have gotten to 10:39. Woohoo!
I know it's time for us to sign off, but thank everybody that sent in their stories or shared with us on here. We greatly appreciate it, and hope that you found it as entertaining as we did, because I found all the stories very interesting.
Yeah, we might do a part 2 for this sometime.
Yeah. And again, if in the future you have an idea or something you want to know more about, we'll be happy to address it.
Mm-hmm.
Research stuff if we don't know about it, and would love your input on what you want to hear about. Because
you can contact us through Facebook, or if you're an email person, you can iris@iriscarter.com. You can email her. It's super easy to remember that one. Absolutely. Yes. One more plug. I'm doing an event December 4th called Empowerment Day with a bunch of other really cool people. There's a series of presentations all day long, November 4 in Myrtle Beach at the Marriott Courtyard near Broadway at the beach. Please feel free to go to the Dreams page on Facebook, Dreams with 2 letter M's, and look up Empowerment Day, and you will see Margot and David. We're talking about cool, fun Reiki things you can do with children, pets, special needs people, senior citizens, and so on. There's all kinds of fun stuff leading to a special parent-child Reiki class in January. But come, and you get a discount if you come to the December thing. So the December thing is only 1 hour, but all day long there's lectures and presentations that are really cool in the exact same location by other people. Check it out. Empowerment Day, December 4, Myrtle Beach, Dreams webpage on Facebook.
Yes. Yeah. Awesome. And again, thank y'all for being here tonight. Have a wonderful holiday tomorrow. As long as you're in America. Anybody else?
Enjoy
if you're
Thursday.
Watching from another place, you might not. But hope you enjoy Turkey Day tomorrow and have a good holiday.
Have a beautiful, safe, and wonderful holiday. Blessings to all.
Thank you for joining The Eyes of Indigo with Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Music is Arcadia by Kevin MacLeod. of incomptech.com, licensed under Creative Commons. Visit our Facebook page for broadcast details, www.facebook.com/EyesOfIndigo. Show is copyrighted 2021 by Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears, all rights reserved.